34% of global daters are now more likely to consider going dry on a date.
Not my jam. I love to drink.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Second Act TV. I'm so happy to welcome back my friend and colleague, Treva Brandon Scharf. Treva, thanks so much for joining me again.
Oh, well, please. Now that I've met you, viewers, listeners, we met. I saw Silka in person. I saw her, I touched her, I hugged her. She is real. She is hot.
Oh, that's so funny.
And from the waist down, too. I saw her from the waist down. You are as because who sees you from the waist down, right?
I know. That's so funny. That was a really, really, really fun time. So thank you. I know our birthdays are like 2 days apart, so we thought it was a terrific time to get together and have a good evening. So thank you for that. We'll do it again soon.
Loved it.
Well, talking about dating and getting together, our topic today, I thought this was really interesting. The big dating sites, Bumble, Match, Plenty of Fish, whatever, they all do trend predictions. And I just read this article and I thought, this is really good to know because not only does it, sort of give you an idea of the environment out there, but also perhaps of the mindset of the person you're meeting up with. So there's 6 of them here, and I want you to comment and see what you're finding out there. The first one is dry dating, and it says here that the past 2 years, a lot of people have reassessed their relationship with alcohol, and that 34% of global daters are now more likely to consider going dry on a date.
Not my jam. I love to drink. So, but I can understand. Yeah, that's not an issue for me. I can understand how it can be, and people get nervous when they're dating, and there's all kinds of things that you tend to relax a little bit more when you have a cocktail. So when I was single, I actually preferred meeting people for a drink over coffee, just because you can relax a little bit more. But I'm all for it. A dry January is a great idea anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Yeah. Well, it's good to know because I know, again, when I was dating, and I'm like you, I preferred going, for a glass of wine, not for dinner, but I liked a glass of wine in the afternoon when we're relaxed and not uptight during the work schedule with coffee. And I guess it's good to know not to automatically invite somebody perhaps for a drink. Maybe consider that. Is that going on in their life? So I thought that was really interesting. The second one, I think this was really interesting too. Hesitation. That this apparently is it says here, first coined by the dating app Plenty of Fish, is that people are now feeling indifferent about dating, unsure, if they want to date seriously or casually. That's really important to know because that speaks to perhaps even rejection or what that mindset is. Talk to me about that.
To me, hesitating, is that what it's called?
Hesitating, yes.
Is more, I think, a symptom of just burnout and cynicism and being jaded and hardened, and that automatically qualifies you as a hesitator, right? I think that's really the issue. I don't think anybody wants to hesitate, but I think just past history tends to wear us down and burn us out and beat us down. And, yes, there's by the time you get to our age, we lose some of that love and feeling, or at least some of our motivation. So I would hope people aren't hesitating. I would hope that they could keep their eternal sense of adventure and enthusiasm about it. But if you need to hesitate or date, Yeah, just like dry dating. I mean, if you have to do it, if it's important and beneficial to your mental health and physical well-being.
Well, they're saying that since post pandemic and things are so uncertain, that we're taking that in all aspects of our life, and that going back out and dating can be scary. So again, just something to know that maybe that's what the other person is going through, not just you.
Sure, sure.
And that's, maybe a mindset that we need to deal with more often. This I thought was super interesting. Dating apps for all ages. And what they point out here is that, well, you're never told to find love, and that Google, they reported that dating at the search for dating apps for older people has, over the last few months, meaning post pandemic,
Yes.
and we're now early, 2022,
Yes.
has grown
Yeah.
3,500%. What does that tell us?
People want to connect. People are horny. They're lonely. They want to connect. Oh, and I just want to just say something about the last point about not hesitating as it pertains to the pandemic. It's not a bad thing going slow, and I know that that's further down in the list. But taking your time and vetting someone and doing it because for health reasons, for safety reasons, is kind of a good thing. I don't see that as being bad. It just slows everything down, and you know how much of a fan I am of slowness.
Yes.
So yeah, it's going to be, now that we're whipping off our masks, or free to do so in some places, it's going to be you're going to be rusty if you've been wearing a mask and if you've been dating, at an arm's distance. But again, not necessarily a bad thing, and it's only probably made you a better vetter. Bettervetter.com. Hello.
Oh,
Okay.
there you go. That's so funny.
Okay. Anyway, on to older apps. Older apps.
Well, what I found out, there's really not much to say other than just point out that tremendous growth, that people over 50 are searching for this, and that they're saying here that, and I'd like to get your input on that, obviously the people over 50 should use the regular dating sites,
Yes.
but they're also promoting like the Silver Singles, Our Time Senior Match. I personally didn't like those, but that was 10 years ago, so those could have changed tremendously. Do you have any new input on that?
I have an issue with those older dating apps and sites. I will not name names, but there's one in particular that absolutely makes my head explode. Every time I see it, I want to spit out my Geritol. It is so old and so stodgy. I am insulted. I just can't. I want to just do this to them. Really, people? Really, marketing and advertising people, this is the best you could do? Like, we're so dumb, we've never heard. Oh, there's a dating site for people. I wouldn't know where to begin. I mean, come on. It makes me nuts.
Yeah. No, it does me too. I do think that there are some people in those shoes. I don't like the representation of it, because that reinforces, a stereotype. So I'm 100% with you. But that's why we have this show. We try to really give you a good feeling for what this new dating environment, the online environment, is like. And I know that so many people are fed up with it. Yes, there's positive and negative, but I keep coming back to it's here to stay. And this right here, this statistic just reaffirmed that. It's not about not doing it, it's about doing it better, and being able to spot when something is wrong, just like you do in your email or your phone or anything else. There's scam artists. I get more scam emails than I do regular ones, but I know how to spot them. I don't pay any attention to them. They're out of here. And that's, I think, where we have to get to with this online dating, these online dating platforms.
Yeah.
This is good too. Proud singlehood is that this was Bumble, that Bumble noticed that, in 2022 especially, people are really looking for finding the one, not just, they're getting a lot more particular. And that being single, that 53% of people said, because they were single, they had to be alone during the pandemic. It's okay to be alone. I'm good with that. I'm going to hold out for the best.
You're talking to a professional singleton. I have too much experience. I was an only child, and I was single till I was 50. So, that's my wheelhouse. That's my jam. I can do it all day long. I have no problem being alone. I understand though that people have difficulty, but I don't understand that because I actually enjoy my solitude. But here's what I will say about the pandemic. It was great training. It was great training in how to be alone
Yeah.
because you had to.
Hmm.
And thank God. And I'm hoping that that's the experience, that was the upside of forced solitude, is that you became comfortable with yourself and you became comfortable with the silence and you became comfortable with being alone with your thoughts. Excellent training. I would imagine, because I do believe that you make a much better partner when you're cool on your own and you can be on your own. And that way you're not desperate and you don't have a sense of urgency because a lot of people, jump from relationship to relationship and they just can't be alone. And so for, a myriad of reasons, people avoid it like the plague. Ha ha.
Yeah, so it's a good statistic. I like it. And we're going to be doing a lot more on that too, on single and just being comfortable with it. Here number 5 I love, and you and I actually did a segment on this: emotional intelligence over physical attractiveness. And this was according to a Match, the annual Singles in America report. Is that for the first time ever, singles reported a preference for intelligence, the person, what you represent, versus physical attractiveness.
Yes, you know how I feel about that. The problem with dating as we know it today is the online version of it is that you have like a second to make all kinds of decisions and judgments about that person. And it's so not fair.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so unfortunate. But what are you going to do? That's the nature of the beast. So, in that regard, that's why I like meeting IRL, in real life, organically. Sometimes we can't do that. But yeah, I'm glad that people are looking past looks and maybe dating against type and because there's so much more to the picture.
Mm-hmm.
And you're counting yourself, or you're counting a lot of great people out if you're just going by looks alone. It's just we all know that don't judge books by its cover. It's, that's nothing new. So hang in there, people, and reserve comment until, I don't know, until you meet them.
Yeah, until you give the real person
Give
a
them a
chance.
chance.
Yeah, and I realize, there has to be chemistry, and but how much of it is really in debate now, and people are realizing that develops versus is like
yes. I would also mention that that to me, what was the title of that
emotional intelligence over physical attractiveness.
Okay. That to me is code for avoiding the BBD, which is the bigger, better deal. Okay. So the problem, again, with online dating is that there's so many fish in the sea
Mm-hmm.
that people don't spend a minute, it's unfortunate because there's always someone better. This is the unfortunate nature of it, again, because it is just not, it's just pushing you to go far, more, harder, faster, there's better, thinking that, and nobody takes a minute and nobody dates, with emotional intelligence.
Yeah, no, and that's, it's going to be slow in coming, but again, it says here 83% of singles polled looked for emotional maturity in a partner or physical. So that's a very encouraging statistic that maybe we are shifting a little bit.
Yes, and I'm hoping for a little bit of a backlash,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of a reaction to quantity versus quality. I think the burnout isn't a bad thing necessarily because it makes you want to slow down and it makes you want to just meet one person and not have to juggle. And I think at least my friends in their 50s and 60s plus, they would just rather meet one person and that's it. And that's all I want. And I'm not interested in, and it doesn't, there isn't that anymore. Whereas when you were younger, right, it felt like there was just
Yeah.
so many people.
Yeah.
that may not be the case anymore, and maybe people are just more selective, which is a great thing.
Yes, it is. And then the last point, and you also alluded to it, the slow dating. That, and this is per Bumble, they reported slow dating is the trend of people taking the time to get to know each other and build a connection before deciding if they want to pursue the relationship or meet in person. And here's why this is important. They also said that it's taken 55% of people are taking longer to take somebody offline and actually meet. And we've talked a lot about, once you have somebody that you want to meet, get off, meet in person, get out there, get offline. So maybe this is a good thing to know, that there's not necessarily a negative hesitation to that, but this is actually a trend.
Well, oh, that's an interesting trend, because I always thought it to be, don't spend too much time online and messaging and texting, because when you finally meet that person, usually it doesn't rise to the level or meet your expectation, or it doesn't, so I'm somewhere in between. I think it's important to establish some kind of chemistry and connection intellectually. I don't know. It also, people hide behind their screens a little bit, I think.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily saying it's a good thing. I think but maybe, if it's a trend, if you're at the receiving end of it, it's not necessarily a rejection. It's just something else to ponder and think about. Treva, we're starting to come to the end of the segment. We could talk about this forever. I really found this really, really interesting. And then, of course, from your perspective of a dating coach, I'm not even sure I said that in the beginning, but most people know you here already. Is there anything else you want to add to this on anything that you've seen or want to leave our audience with?
I read a lot, like you do. Okay, we're in this space. We read lists, and the 10 top this and the 10 top that, and trends, and I love doing this with you, because I think we're smart, and I think we actually have really good sound advice. So I don't mind people listening to this and following our advice and suggestions, but there's so much of it, and just be careful. If something resonates with you, if it calls you, do it, follow it. Trust yourself, though. Yeah. Bottom line.
You brought up a good point. I think that the advice, certainly from my end, that I share is from experience. Whether, I don't know if it's right or wrong. It's my experience and how it's worked out. So take that. And again, we'd love to hear your comments, your questions. If you are in this space, you need some extra help, you want some questions answered. Treva is a fabulous dating coach. She's so much fun to work with, and I'll have her information.
And have dinner with.
And she's a great dinner date. So I'll have all your information, Treva, in the show notes. And I want to hold you over for another important segment. So we'll see you next time on Second Act TV.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already done so, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. You can click on this little button right here, click right through to YouTube, and when you see the little bell right next to the subscribe button, hit that too, and we'll notify you every time we launch a new video. See you next time.